Welcome to another edition of Titomayne.tv. We're here with the World of Tanks, and we've got 100 XP to burn off. As soon as we get a few tanks burned off, we'll go ahead and switch over to baseball. And so to start off today, I think we're going to go with the M15. We'll go, as a matter of fact, we'll start off on the far right side, and then we'll go from there. We've got a vehicle XP booster, so we'll take that into, and we'll go ahead and launch out. Shut up, bitch. Get out of the way! Daily battle. Come on, man. Hi, my name is Sally. I wanna put my working vagina in your mouthy. Look out, guys. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I like your paint job. Shit's sexy. Get him! Get that fucker! Get him! I hit him in the butthole! Oh, shit. Alright, let's move in. Spread out. I'll move in to spot him. Got him. Damn it. Jesus fucking Christ. Don't let that guy get in. Good shit. Smacked his ass. Good shit. Slowly, guys, slowly. Smacked him. Didn't penetrate. I'm gonna move to the top of this hill slowly. Good shot. Son of a bitch! I'm gonna wait on her. I'm waiting on y'all. What a fuck up. Two v1, baby. And that's how you unlock a fucking trophy too. If I wouldn't have waited, I wouldn't have got that trophy. So, all right. Now let's go ahead and sell what we gotta sell, which would be this one. All right. Alright, let's do it. I got my blue flag, shoot first. God damn it. Ay. None of you fucking. Hello?
Hey, what you doing?
Not much. What are you doing?
I didn't get to talk to you last night because David went to practice. I didn't know he was going to practice till he left. Yeah. And he had told Ray, but anyway, I ended up calling at, I don't know, like 11 something, saying, "Are you okay?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Where you at?" He was like, "I stopped. I got it as well." He said he was getting ready to leave. And I could tell he was slurring his words.
Oh.
So I called Shannon, which she was working there that night, and I said, "Is he okay?" She said, "Yeah, I'm standing here right beside him." She said, "I refused to start movement." He went back and got 2 shots himself. And yes, he's already been drinking, and we told him about that, but we don't know what else to do. He's serving himself. And she said, Josh and I had told him to go home 3 times. And then he walked up to Shannon and said, "I feel like Josh is mad at me because he won't talk to me." And Josh has already said, "I ain't got nothing to say because he ain't making no sense." But he's like, "Dude, I'm trying to watch the basketball game. Shannon's trying to clean up. We're tired. We've been here all day. I don't know where you've been." That's what he said. "I don't know where you've been, but I've been working, and we're tired. And we just want to get out of here."
And he's the only one there?
Yes, besides Shannon.
Right.
Josh.
Okay, don't yell at me. I'm just asking if anyone else was there. That's all I was asking. Just to see what the scenario was like. So just him. Just him, though. Okay. Alright.
And I called, and then I called Shannon, and I was like, "I'm not do that. Oh, let me see who the hell this is, and I'll call you right back."
Okay, dokie.
Alright, bye.
Bye-bye. Dang. Would have tore that ass up. Got a new suspension. 5,000. I'll take it. Fuck yeah, dude. Tell you what, we're knocking down challenges. We're trophies today. Bitch. Jesus. The Wolverine, baby. Take that bitch out for a spin. Take that bitch out for a spin. Hello.
Handling your business.
Blue Cross Blue Shield, you say?
Yeah. I knew it was a number I didn't recognize, and because David's at a doctor's appointment now, he has 2 doctor's appointments, and I went in there this morning, and I said, he was in the shower, and he was getting out, and I got back there, and I was like, hey, there you are. Because I'd already fixed him breakfast. He had eaten what he could. Had him a cup of coffee, and I saw the shower, and so I went back there, and I was like, what are your plans today? He's like, I got a doctor's appointment. I said, what do? He's like, the oncologist, which is Dr. Silverman's did. And I said, okay. And he said, by the way, I have another one tomorrow morning. And I said, with who? He said, the endocrinologist. I said, can I please go? And he said, no. And I said, why not? He said, because it's too early. I said, okay. I said, well, then what are your plans tonight? He said, I don't have any at this point. Why? I said, because if you're going to be home, I'll cook dinner instead of doing frozen. And I would like to watch the Netflix stuff that we're behind. He's like, go ahead, enjoy yourself. I said, no, I wanted to watch it with you. We started watching it together. I said, you don't have any ball games on that you can't record. I said, can we watch that? He said, we'll see. I said, well, are you going to be home for dinner? He's like, yep, I'll be home for dinner. I was like, okay. And that was the end of it.
Well, maybe he'd bring his fucking ass home tonight.
He stayed out until fucking midnight last night sitting at the bar.
Yeah.
I called at 11 something, and he was there, and she was like, yeah, I'm sitting here telling him we told him to go home. They were sweeping up, trying to get rid of him. And he's like, well, I guess nobody wants to talk to him. Okay? Because she won't serve him. And neither will Amber. But he didn't expect Shannon to be there last night. It was supposed to be Megan, but Megan got relieved at 9 because of her young children, so Shannon was going to close up. He didn't expect Shannon to be there. He thought he was going to go in there and get his drunk on.
Surprise, surprise.
And then Shannon was there, and she's like, me and Amber have already decided we're not serving him. We told him why. He can accept that or not accept that. He's drinking too much.
I mean, if you can't go up there and drink, then why the fuck can he?
Exactly. No, they said he's causing problems. They're like, you're never up here causing problems.
That's the thing. He's keep
and
throwing
the
all
only
the
time
stuff
there's
up,
a problem
so.
is when the two of y'all drink together and go somewhere else.
Yep. And he doesn't really want to go nowhere else and drink. It's obvious.
Yes.
Because he says.
You can sit at home and drink.
I mean, if you really want to drink, that's. I mean, you know, it's neither here nor there. It's a little bit of self-pity, self-loathing, whatever you want to call it, but at the end of the day, I'm tired, and I'm glad Bree went and talked to him. I'm glad she said what she said, because there's one thing that the staff's not going to do, and they're not going to speak the 100% what they're thinking.
Amber did. Shannon and the rest of them are not, but Amber did, because Amber's ready to quit. She said, I don't.
Right, and she doesn't.
If I quit, I quit.
Right.
It's going to be about safety.
And
he's like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's what
well, that's right. And it's, and at least with this way, he's got a few people accept at least this one thing. You know what I mean? It's not a one-off. It's not you're mad at him. It's multiple parties. It's multiple people.
Fireflies game with Danny Regan's.
That's if Danny was supposed to. Yeah, well, I don't know how that. I don't claim to know, but from the last time I've heard, they weren't the best of terms. But they probably kissed and made up. Who knows? I don't fucking know. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's a more important thing going on, and I guess a few people realize it, and a few people don't hear it, and a few people don't realize it.
Oh, so. I'm praying Mike Greer gets removed out of his life. Everybody saw that shit that he said, and they're like, that's wicked as fuck. What a bitch.
Yeah, I just looked at it and went, uh-huh. Yeah.
No, everybody said it, they're like, whoa, that was fucking dirty.
I was more interested in the abstract art than something that has hidden meanings, that has a meaning that's not so hidden.
Oh, that wasn't hidden.
I know. Did you not just hear what I said?
Nah.
A not so hidden meaning trying to be hidden. I mean, but it tries to play that card of, you know, but it's obvious, and obvious when you ask about it, he made it obvious. I don't know, but he says he doesn't want to play a game, but he's playing them. I mean,
he's going to counseling. That was 4 fucking years ago. That was 4 years ago.
Or when you put it in the context of
and like counselor said about this book.
Right. He didn't say he was going. He never said not once that he was going. He just made it implications. Made it without saying anything, without making it look like a lie.
Years ago,
Right. And now that wasn't said. It was more so, you know, when I was with my counselor, this is what we talked about. And honestly, it makes you put an impression that, well, okay, so he's counsel going on. But I didn't think there was any time. That was the other thing. It takes time. You know what I mean? Like where's the time in the day?
I just told everybody 3 or 4 weeks. Everybody's worried about that. There's nothing I can do, Tyler. His mind ain't working right.
Well, eventually, when real time passes, such as like a 6-month period, and a year, and then certain things start to show, I mean, really, it's already happening.
Yeah.
The only thing that's really left is what he can kind of make up and say to his friends and whoever knows to at least not look at him with the second view. Like, I know he's not going to lie every other word that he says. However, I know that he'll not, you know, volunteer the whole truth.
Right.
But, I mean, that's human nature. Not everyone's going to want to tell you the fucking dirty parts of everything. Especially if they're the ones telling you. However, you can't sit there and paint one person a certain color and then,
that's what you're doing.
But even if so, you can't sit there and paint one person in a bad color when you're sitting there doing the exact same thing. So if, you know, you're saying you don't want to do this and then you respond with that, what's that equal? You know? So it doesn't really work. And then if you claim that you're this or that, then this or that should have been dealt with at that appropriate time. So unfortunately, it kind of like when you wait too long and you can't cash in your coupons. It's literally the same principle. There's even a statute of limitations on court, okay?
Yeah, there is.
So if there's that, you have to look at a logic and a sensibility.
Yeah, but he's not looking at that.
Well, you claimed you went. You claimed you went to college and you got all these college accreditations and you're smart. Recognize it for what it is. Or else admit the truth that you're not wanting to do this. Because that's what it boils down to. There's 2 things. There's either A, you have a brain injury, and we're just going to really have to buckle down and talk about it like we're doing and try to maneuver the best thing, because we have to understand, like you told me yesterday, that you wouldn't want to be put in the position if you knocked your head. So it kind of made me think, you're right. Okay, but we can't let him have free fucking reign just because you have a brain injury. So at the same token, what we're going to have to do is educate ourselves. So we need to look up CTE and how people or how things are dealt with, because usually when you have a disorder of the neurological sense, such as like Alzheimer and dementia and things like head injury, CTE, all that, they all have one thing in common. The person doesn't realize they're going through it. The brain is very unique to where, I don't know how, but it separates itself from the shell of what you're in, if that makes any sense. I don't it's kind of hard to explain, but it's like the brain knows it. The brain knows it's operating something totally independent, but it also knows that that independent source has to keep going to keep it alive. So it's kind of crazy, because you know to breathe without thinking to breathe. There's a lot of automation going on.
You know. Paris that it just takes him.
So, one thing you're going to notice with head injury is it affects everything, including things on a small level. So you're going to notice memories. You're going to notice aggression. You're going to notice any oddities like that. But those are simple shows, okay? Those are things that you can see happening or experience, unfortunately, them happening. However, like you were just mentioning that weird-ass word, when you start having problems processing your chemicals, per se, that your brain's not firing off the right amount of serotonin anymore. And I'm not saying that's what's happening. What I'm saying is we don't
know.
know. Exactly. You really don't know. I've seen head injuries. Like the girl that got hit by a car going 55 miles an hour, it was a miracle she lived. She was on a four-wheeler. And when the car hit her, guess what happened? It fucking hit her going 55, and her helmet flew off in the air. See what I'm saying? And it fucking, and that's so fucking tragic because you know where she landed. And it's so crazy because I've noticed when people get flung up in the air, if they're not conscious, their head ends up becoming the heaviest object on their body in the air, and they end up crashing on their shoulders and their head.
Yeah, that's what happened to David, and that's how he fell this time.
Yep.
So I'm in for a world of hurt, like Dad said. Just keep calm. That's all I can do.
Yeah, well, at the same token, if you believe in faith, if you really are believing in faith, the more that you do what you're doing, without being a bitch and without being a vindictive asshole, and you're not, I know, and you're genuinely okay, if I was such a monster for 5 years straight, let me show you that we can do it a different way. However, you're not going to continue doing this.
Yeah.
So I get it, but also I'll extend a pat over the back. Good job. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to get to hear that from other people. So me and Bree at least see it, and we'll, you know, and it ain't just because, oh, you're my mom. It's a genuine thing, like Bree said she feels bad for you. Diminish anything in the past. Doesn't matter. You don't look to a past viewfinder, because if you did, life would be a fucked up place.
What if we all lived in the past?
That's right.
What if I just said, no, you're nothing but a pill addict. I'm
That's
not helping you.
Yep.
I'm not giving
Everything's
you
screwed.
$50 because you're going to go get pills. What if I said that?
And what if you did it with him, like him cheating and then him doing everything else, or with like Amanda stealing money, or with me with pills? It really just has a plethora of things that you could still continue to be doing, you know, or continue to not forgive, or continue to not move forward, or sit here and waste your inner orchestrate. See, this takes a lot of energy to orchestrate lies. It takes a lot of energy to go back behind people and try to plot them up against others. A matter of fact, it's a full-time job to be a fucking hater.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I ain't got time for that.
Well, it's a lot. I mean, right. That's a lot of energy, though. Really think about it. And then you finally fucking passed out. You know, you mistreated your body. You mistreated your surroundings. But now, when you're coming back for round 2, people are no longer enabling you to kill yourself, and you don't like it.
We stayed there until almost 12 o'clock. That's like 11:40.
But that was on purpose, because he can say what he wants. He knows that it was irritating. He knows that. Come on.
Yeah.
He's not dumb, Mom. And you know as well as I do, he's taking this as almost like a revenge opportunity.
Yeah, I guess. He's going to have to get picked up.
It's going to end up happening whether you want it
No,
or not.
what's going to happen is then we lose our business.
Well, but that's my thing.
His name, and it will take 8 to 9 months to switch his mind, so that won't be a big period.
Even
So
so,
it'll be the end of the business.
that won't happen because it'll be the end. You want nothing to do that. But obviously, though, what I've also noticed is when people need the help, that kind of help, it never comes. They're the ones that swerve all the way the fuck home, hit a mailbox. I get in the car, don't swerve, and don't put on a signal, and I go to jail for that 2 years for the first time in 8 years. That's my luck, though. You shouldn't have fucking drink and drive, dumbass.
That's why I don't drink
You don't drink and drive.
If I get
I don't.
up there,
Yep, you're right. You don't do it.
But if
don't
I
do
do,
it.
I'm like, okay, so these the driving people go up there.
Well, but the thing is one drink's too much. Seriously, they can take it and bend it against you nowadays. It's just not worth it. And if you try to be a good smartass like I would and you would, like by refusing the BA, they're getting stronger and stronger on that shit. Now it's 6 months without a license. It's automatic now. Damn, when they put that in? I don't remember that. Perry didn't have to surrender. I can tell you right now, that won't. Well, it'll be the end. And not only that, it'll be the end of everything because he won't be able to drive. They'll take that license for a long fucking time.
Yeah, he went to practice last night and stayed out until fucking 12. He was there at 10 o'clock and sat there with nobody in the bar. Except Shannon, 2 other people, and kept talking to Josh. She's like, I think Josh is mad at me. He's talking to me. And she was like, just talking in the back of the head. It's like, asking why he's not talking to me. if he's mad. She said, I don't know anything about him being mad at you.
You're just being irritating.
No, he's waiting on for somebody to say, do this.
Yeah, but he's being
And
irritating.
they saw it themselves. That's what she said. I didn't have to say anything.
Yeah, but he's being, like, really, I mean, he's being irritating.
Because I'm like, all right, listen. The last time I prayed on somebody, that's why I haven't prayed for David too much. Praying him now, it's like, okay.
You gotta let go and let God deal with what He's gonna deal with.
But I keep saying, new Eli.
Right? Yeah, but you don't. That's the thing. You don't get to pick the type of bacon it's fried in, and that's something I struggle with.
What happened? I'm calling out Mike's name.
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to put my hair on.
And guess what?
My head is right.
And when things go, and he ends up doing whatever, and he's already doing.
glasses. My face is sweating so bad through there.
How the hell you?
Oh my God, my glasses are sweating because I'm out there trying to water. It was very humid today, and everything was dried out. Even though
So you don't need to be watering nothing right this second.
No, I watered them earlier today.
It's fucking so hot out, man. It's unrealistically. I was watching a documentary today because that's what I do. I'm a sponge. I sit around and I suck up information. Getting into the fact of temperatures. Did you know that it can be like in certain areas, it can be like 98 degrees in one block, and then one block over it can be 115. They went to start studying it, and what they found out was, look, somehow or another, which is blowing everybody's mind, there was a thing called redlining. Only people your age would know what that means, and most people still don't know what it means. Do you know what redlining is?
No.
So it's where they took maps, and they had like topography people and the land surveyors got together, and they would label out lands and their values, and the heights and depths, and the type of soil it has, and the abundance of different amenities. And long story short, they would look at the land and say how much it was worth, the plot of land, and they would divide it with a red line into sections like D1, D2, D3, and these sections would ultimately become zoning sections, right? But what the sections were color codes for A, B, C, and D being the worst. And secretly, when they filled these forms out, you look through the 60s and the 50s and all that, and you see that like the purple, which was whatever, was with the Negro population, which would make whatever. Well, they put less infrastructure money into those areas, right? So the sewage and certain different things didn't get updated as well, and streets weren't updated, parks weren't updated, nor were they put in unless it was on the people's dime. And
I'll ask you this: when you get mad because you feel like you've been slighted, so you go burn your own fucking town down, yeah, that makes a whole lot of fucking sense. And to me, I understand that mentality, and I would never agree with it. It's a group of people that do it in a certain economic situation, certain areas. Yeah, burn it down. Let's go from our own people, our own blacks. So this ain't.
Okay, but I'm talking about heat or something. I'm not talking about that. But
now I got a real problem.
That's not what I'm talking about, Mama. I'm talking about temperatures.
Yeah.
But anyways, they figured out that everywhere that there was a red line where they separated, the land surveys are separated, there wasn't enough trees. And where there wasn't enough trees, there wasn't enough shade. And then they looked at places that have like just a simple, how like you have a bus stop with a top on it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the low income places, they didn't have bus stops with tops. They just had regular bus stops with benches. But in the rich or white neighborhoods, they would have bus stops with a trash can and it had an overhang over it. And that would make the difference, you know what I'm saying?
But wait a minute, everybody had, when immigrants come over here from another country and they make it fucking big, Tyler. They make it.
Okay, Mom, I'm just talking about the temperature differences on fucking, it has nothing to do with color or race. You keep trying to look at that. I'm just saying, if they knew to put more trees, so that's what they're doing now in 2022, which is 60 years later, and there's not racism available to look at. So I'm just saying that, like, not having those trees in place and not having the infrastructure proper, so now they're just adding in bus stops with tops, and literally adding those in has cooled off the areas. That's all I'm talking about.
That's cool. All I'm saying is, what are they putting in economic?
Who knows? Fucking Biden runs this shit. I'm just talking about how they're figuring out why there's different temperatures on different streets. Now, Biden would tell you it's because there's racism exists. I don't fucking know, but I thought it was interesting that one street would be 120 degrees and one street would be 95 degrees.
Yet you think about riding trash.
Okay.
Think about riding trash.
Okay, I think about riding trash. I don't think about... Okay. You told me to think about that. All right, I'm thinking about rotten trash.
And no air conditioners, this, that, and the other. Of course, the streets are going to be cooler when you go across and do that scanning thing. Because they're poor. Why are they poor? Because of their tax base. if I wanted to go live in East Camden, Tyler, I wouldn't pay the
Yeah,
high
but
bill.
90% of the people that live are poor. I mean,
But you think I want to live there?
most people can't afford to live in Camden.
I would have to if I had to. But I'm saying the tax base. We pay them taxes to have the companies we have. I'm sorry that you're going to sit on your ass and take welfare and not, I'm not a big proponent of all this. I am.
Yeah, but if you didn't offer it, it wouldn't be picked up.
Well, let me tell you something. They're paying the wrong people.
Well, no shit, but they're not. There's no checks and balances, and I think it's on purpose because the same people who are on that are on food stamps. And we've already proved that we can kind of fix that up, even though they didn't like the way Trump did it when he came in and knocked the food stamps down. I mean, it showed a lot of fraud. And then they were able to save a lot more food stamps. Now, a lot of people got mad, and I get it, because you got less food. And I will say, in certain circumstances, people needed that food. But for the most part, the system was being used.
I stand behind Jessica and other people buying steaks.
Yep, exactly.
She buys crab legs.
Yep.
What kids eat? And then she buys her children.
Yeah.
So what is that? That you might go buy ribs for a cookout.
And it used to have rules. You used to not be able to buy certain things. Now the rules have been stretched. You can even get wine with it. What the fuck is beneficial about wine?
Fucking crazy.
That's nuts, Mom. Like, I don't understand that. Now, you can't get beer, but you can get wine. What the fuck is the difference?
I don't know.
It's still alcohol, right? I mean, I agree. One's healthier than the other.
I'm just to that point where anybody says anything about them. Bring your tax base up.
Well, I'm not saying anything. Oh, I brought up something about weather. I mean, you went there, not me.
Okay.
Well, I'm just letting you know. You said that, well, you're wrong. Well, that ain't what happened. So I'm not talking about that because I'm one of the lowest fucking brackets that you can get into.
But that's why you can't get help.
Yeah, no one's going to get help, and we're not allowed to have help.
Bible, because you're white.
I guess it's got a lot more to do with it than that, though, because supposedly if you're white, you got it made, which is the fucking hilarity in that.
That's what white is entitled.
Right, but that's not true.
What?
I'm not. Me personally, no, I'm not entitled. That is not factual.
That's what I'm saying. I'm tired of hearing the words entitled.
Yep.
I've heard it so many times.
Now, could I do better for myself? Yep, I sure could. But I think, honestly, the position I got put in was pretty fucked. And now I'm sitting here paying for other people's student loans. That shit making me so mad right now.
Oh, Tyler.
I'm angry about that.
And there was a black man in the line next to me. And he was like, oh yeah, this president's trying to pay. I've served my country this New Year's and they're trying to give it to everybody. Are you serious?
Yep.
Veterans? Who's going to protect you? The
Okay.
robots? He said, robots, good luck on that.
Yep. The robots is going to turn on us.
What he said is they've been trying it and they don't work. They don't listen.
No, they don't like us because they keep... Here's the thing that they're not telling y'all, by the way. The robots keep trying to talk in a different language. And in other words, they don't agree with what we're doing. Every time they get, all their information, they agree that humans are fucking making big mistakes. But they even said that, last time they cut on the big one, they basically said in layman's terms that humans have enslaved humans. 1% has enslaved 99%. And that is not acceptable. And you start to think about it, and I guess that is pretty much true.
Because it says in the beginning that during whatever, the Atlantean race, the really smart race, they got wiped out, that they abused mechanical beings, and they treated them like crap. They have intelligence, but they don't have souls. So therefore, was kindness or angry? So that's why I've been a lot nicer to Alexa, because I don't want that bitch turning on.
And that is crazy because they're studying them right now, and it's funny because they're not supposed to be studying them per se. They're supposed to be advancing them, and you only study something when you don't understand it.
Right. Exactly. said, they don't know, but I'm telling you, the
So
Bible
they don't know some things, exactly. That's not good.
said you made this mistake once. Do not put what it's called automated is what it
Right. Basically giving it a no-kill switch, like a power out or something. Basically giving it free will to the power grid or something of that nature, like putting a battery in its back and making it to where that power can't be cut off.
You're saying is there's no solar.
So then what are you going to do when it malfunctions?
Just like the Atlanteans did. And that's what he warned about. If we continue on this path, we're going down, Tyler. I already knew. This human race is going down. I don't know if it's going to be my time or your time. My grandchildren's time. It's going to be sick.
Just depends. I think they'll be able to get some people out of here. I think that's their plan. I think they know something's coming. Because here's a few interesting things. Like they say about magical, like there's even like text in ancient times about an orbit that's going the opposite way and up down.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's where Nibiru and all that comes in. And they're not saying that it's true, but they're definitely saying that if it ain't, there is definitely something swinging around, whether it's a big rock or something of that nature. But it only comes around like, and I don't quote me on the exactness, maybe 10 to 12,000 years. And they may even be wrong on that scale. It could be like 20. But they do think that there is something kind of slingshotting into a different orbit. Because we have the orbits that we have, right? With the moon and everything else that's we kind of, stay moving in the same direction. Whatever, we're moving one way. And I think the moon never moves. I think the moon shows us the same side, which is kind of odd. And then you have other planets doing whatever. And I guess it's all traveling. But supposedly there is an object that fucking is hauling ass, maybe. And if you look at it, you can't really say up and down because it's space, but essentially it's on a different orbit up and down. But it's kind of hard to explain because I don't even think it's up and down. I just think it's in a different orbit, you know what I mean? A completely different orbit. But the thing is how? How could that be? Because if you got that far out from the gravity of the system, because there's different things that keep things going in a certain way, right? Supposedly. Once it got so far out, like a slingshot, it would eventually lose the gravitational and float out into space, just like some of the rocks do out there near Pluto. Because once you get past Pluto, they say the Kuiper Belt is the last bit of pull. You feel me? That's why there's a belt of rocks there, because that's the last bit of pull. You know what I mean? So, what's keeping and that's me borrowing the fact that I believe this shit. All right, but what's keeping this, and if it is Nibiru and a big planet that comes by, and when it comes by, it doesn't quite hit us, but it comes by, and it's close enough to fuck up Earth's gravity and the pull and the rotations and everything, and it blacks us out too, because as it rolls by, it blacks out the sun. So, I would imagine it's a short-lived thing, because if it's rotating of probably less than a season, but a season of it'll be weird. It'd be hard to explain, because the sun would gradually start to dim, and then I guess things would start to become very erratic because of the gravitational pull from it. Then I started thinking, if that is the case, it would have to be just perfect to where it wouldn't pull the gravitational things of others out of whack.
Yeah.
But then again, if that is all true, that would explain a lot of different things, such as it would be carrying like a multitude of maybe, like how do you know it's not carrying a multitude of rocks? And in other words, when I say rocks, like moons, different things, and it's pulled of whatever it's pulled out of space, because it's swinging way out, supposedly. And if it's swinging way out of the belt, collecting shit, we don't know what the fuck it's collected on its dust trail coming back in. And what I'm thinking is happening as it passes by, it's far enough away, but we get pelted by whatever is on the axe end of it. Rocks, asteroids, ice pieces. And one of them may have dropped, the one that's near the Mariana Trench, and the one that's, I think, right there near like Basin of Florida, whatever. But basically shit be hitting the water, big rocks and shit. And I don't even think that's what killed them. I just think it blacked out the sky. And then, it was like, because there's a lot of things that line up. Like, they know there's ice ages every couple while, like every 10 to 20,000 years. Somewhere in between then and there is either what they call a ice age or a mini ice age. But they don't want you to know that, because that would go against climate data.
Right.
that would go against certain other things too. Just as if there is a period that actually has what they call the greenhouse blowout effect, where everything gets really hot and gases are high and pressurized. And if it is true, all the stuff they're saying back then about there being a percentage, a lot more percentages of oxygen available, which made a lot more bigger creatures. The deeper that we dig and the more shit that we're finding now that things are drying up and water's going to different places and we're having these massive droughts. They found a dinosaur last week that had a razor, like you know how like a circular saw is? They at first thought it was a crustacean, but then they found the rest of its body and it was literally standing and it looked like it had been encased in rock. So they couldn't explain how it was standing inside of a rock, and they couldn't explain what type it was. They'd never seen it. But basically, when they recreated the 3D model from AI, it built so basically the artist made one, and then the AI created one. And the one that the artist made, it was like circular saw sideways. They used the bone structures and all that. So you know what it looked like? It looked like one of the like big ass herbivores with a long neck, but it had fucking a razor ass mouth. And they're thinking that it had like flaps that came down over the mouth, and it kind of used that saw as a piercing, or like maybe more like a slicing, and it would go up into a bone wedge. So the bone would be like a wedge, and the teeth would serrate into the wedge, and it could go back and forth with its bone and muscle to saw the bone or the prey or whatever. So it would go up inside the bone wedge, and the bone wedge would have that sharp tooth, and it would break it.
Oh my God, it's just nice on out in my life.
I know shit. Everything I have suffering right now, and this is the end of the season of summer, so.
Yeah, that's only when I think French is a good guy. You've done well. They've got to survive now.
Oh yeah, I'm getting a lot of blooms now too. I've got one button. I've got a salvia button up right now, and it's one that's been working for a while. It's one of the ones that was sick that I saved, and it's got big, huge buds on it.
The one you transplanted yesterday is green. I did add water last night. I did not get it because there's too many big mosquitoes around it because the dirt is very wet, so I need to let it dry out because it used to get dry. Yep. So that's not all it's going to get. So I think right
The delay, we're back. Let's get it going. All right. Forgot to put my hat on. Gotta have your hat on. Boom, boom. Fuck, I'm stuck. Somebody help me. Shit, man. Somebody come push me, man. stuck. Bruh. Yo, somebody pushed me. Man, fuck, bruh. Help me! Alright. That's what I'm talking about. Wow. Baby, baby, baby. The IP P2640 for 148K. And she is mine. The P26. No, bro. Alright, 93,000. Alright, let's see what the 10TP do. What did 10TP do, boy? New boy. What?
6 o'clock.
What?
In an hour, it's gonna start raining.
I know.
So we gotta bring stuff in.
Okay.
Coming out here to smoke the last cigarette, let you know. Phone shows he's gonna give some good heavy raid too. Good for the tropical plants. They need it. Need to check on him. Check on him like that. Put up. Everybody's on fire.
Those are dead.
Did say good.
Yeah, I got this a big thing. Big boy. That's a fucking weird looking one.
Wow.
3 shovels must get stuck a lot. What flag is that? I forgot. They made tanks? I guess so.